What fact is common knowledge to people who work in your field, but almost unknown to the rest of the population? An elevator will go up to the top of the hoist instead of crash to the floor in most catastrophic failures due to the counterweights. I don't know if that makes my elevator anxiety better or worse. It all depends on whether there is a masked villain sawing at the rope holding the counterweights. A corporate policy of requiring users to change their passwords every 90 days does not make your system more secure. It tends to actually make things less secure. There is a surprising amount of infrastructure under your feet. You'd be surprised how much public utility runs underneath private property. Always call before you dig. Yelp. Used to work at one of those 811 centers. Even light gardening in your backyard can knock out your internet. Call before you dig. Most people are not good at detecting lies. And consistently score no better than chance. 50/50 when tested. The score goes up slightly when it's someone they know that they're talking to. But not much. Ironically, most people rate themselves as very good at detecting lies. But they're wrong. To add to this, experienced detectives are no better at telling who is lying and who is telling the truth than rookie police officers. The only difference is that they believe they are better. There is no difference between a violin and a fiddle other than how you play it. Heartworms are treatable for dogs, but not for cats. Also, keep on top of your heartworm prevention for your dog. If they get heartworm but you can prove that they've been continually covered, which isn't difficult, the receipts are good enough, and your vet will have them in their database, then the heartworm prevention manufacturer will pay for the treatment. Man. I love that you all love your pets. The maximum spacing between spindles in a railing is 4 inches because that's the average size of a baby's head. Most building officials will carry a 4-inch sphere with them when doing inspections on new construction. Similarly, when public play structures are being evaluated, the evaluator brings 2 size paddles. One which is equal to the average size of a new norm's head, and one that equal to the largest average size of a child under 10. They then stick the paddles in all crevices of the play structure. If the smaller one, the head, can get through, the bigger one, body, must also be able to. Otherwise the structure won't pass inspection. Edit, I meant to say newborns not new norms. But it's spiked such great comments that I'm just gonna leave it. Touching your fresh tattoo with your unwashed fingers is bad. It's absurd how many times we have to tell this to people. The toner in your printer is plastic being melted onto the paper. To add to this, an inkjet printer macro boils the ink in the printhead before transferring it to the page. Bubbling just barely. I had no idea about this until last year. Virtually every piece of copper, aluminum, or steel you come across has been chopped to bits, refined, melted down and used to make whatever object it's a part of. Dozens, if not hundreds of times. Copper pipe probably started out as hundreds of different wires from various devices from around the world at one point. Most 911 calls an ambulance receives on a daily basis are not remotely close to being emergencies. EMT can confirm. About half of our calls are for patient transfers to between hospitals. The other half of calls are 911 calls. And only half of those 911 calls are true emergencies. And the only time we use lights and sirens is when a person is in deep sheet and staring death in the face. So if an ambulance comes up to you, lands, move the duck out of the way. Fast. Being a civil attorney, we almost never go to jury trial and the job can be unbelievably boring. Turning your computer or phone off and on again will fix a solid 70-80% of all problems the device likely has. Being a stockbroker does not mean I know how you can turn $100 into $1 million by next month. Stop texting me. If you knew how to do that, I'm guessing you wouldn't still be a stockbroker. I'd be on an island somewhere still telling people to duck off. When you delete a file from your HD, only the information of how to reach these memory slots coherently is deleted. the raw information remains there until overwritten. That's why companies should destroy their disks on decommission instead of just formatting them. There is a period of time every year that in the US, the Department of Transportation pulls over any and every truck that they can. During this period many trucking companies take vacation time, as the potential hassle is not worth the money made during this time. You would think all the heavily relied upon server infrastructures were super secure and highly redundant. Ha 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 ha. If you stick your eardrum with an object, you will start to cough. This happens because the nerves interconnect. N. Vegas. I hope this information helps you in future battles. In jewelry, a diamond is a luxury expense, not an investment. Gold is the investment. If you try to sell your engagement ring, you'll get maybe 20% of what you initially paid for it. Jewelers can get diamonds for a fraction of what you paid for it. Not my current field, but when I worked at Starbucks, not a lot of people understood that a larger espresso drink does not always equals more caffeine. A tall drink has 1 shot. Grand has 2. And a venti also has 2. Unless it's iced and then it gets a 3rd shot. So many times customers would order a grand latte and say, you know what? You'd better make that a venti. I can use the extra caffeine, when in fact the larger size is just more diluted with milk. If you are looking for more caffeine, a drip coffee is going to be the most bang for your buck. Also, this seems really obvious, but a lot of people would get upset when they ordered a flavored coffee and saw that I would put syrup in it. No. Coffee beans do not naturally come in caramel, vanilla, toffee nut, raspberry etc. flavor. Drowning is silent. I pulled out a kid literally less than a foot away from a large group of adults, and not one of them noticed that his head was totally submerged and that he was struggling. Office copiers cost upwards of $7,000. Some can go for $15,000, 20,000 depending on print speed and capacity. My girlfriend's uncle is an architect at a big architect company here. They recently bought a new printer that could do all kinds of advanced stuff that was over 7/800K. It was under a water pipe which had a faulty connection. The pipe burst. Printer ended useless. Anyone can get an entry-level IT job if you know how to use Google and have an aptitude for learning new things. Only when you get to the analyst positions is it necessary to have a strong foundation of IT knowledge. And programming is something else entirely. This is relatively well known, but it's not as big a deal as it should be. The severity of the handful of big data breaches we've seen in the past few years. Target, Equifax etc. The worst ones are the ones you don't hear about, because the hackers were good enough not to be caught. I'm convinced we've had multiple breaches in our infrastructure, such as our electrical grid. And the only reason we've not heard about it is that the hackers, or the people they work for, haven't done anything nefarious with their access yet. When you write to your politician, he won't be reading your letter. He won't be writing the reply. That's all done by staffers. All he does is sign here. Maps and their underlying data can be tweaked and modified to show any bias you want. True AI is a long way away. I'm a software engineer, and I work with a lot of algorithms. What's billed as AI today isn't quite artificial intelligence. It's just a bunch of advanced algorithms, some of which are capable of learning things in a very strict narrow scope. In other words, people, especially marketing, seem to use the terms machine learning and artificial intelligence interchangeably, when they shouldn't be. I guess I understand why. Artificial intelligence sounds cooler. But really none of these things can actually make decisions on their own, which is a true benchmark of AI. Actors must be 25 years old to be in a beer commercial. This was recently changed to allow celebrities and athletes over 21 to do them. But regular actors still need to be 25, even though in the US, the drinking age is 21. Do not hold your breath while ascending up through water. Unless of course that breath came from the surface to begin with. Then you're okay. More people die in lifeboat drills than they do in any other marine incidents. Doubling the dose of a drug does not double the effect. Likewise, a child should not be given the same dose per kg body weight as an adult. You cannot go from having black hair to silver or platinum blonde in one sitting. It takes multiple, and 9 times out of 10, your hair is fried beyond repair by the end of it. Kim Kardashian or whoever you pinned on your Pinterest page or Instagram is wearing a wig. Children behave differently at home than they do at school. Seriously. Teachers have no reason to lie about your child misbehaving. Logging behavior and initiating a less than positive exchange creates more work for us. Why would we like to create more work for ourselves? Just because I know how to code doesn't mean I can fix your computer. Overnight cashiers in most places are not just cashiers. We are also maintenance, management, stock and clean everything. And on top of this also run the register for every customer that comes in. Almost everything is an ad. BuzzFeed, Forbes, everything. Product mentioned in an article. Ad. First page of Google search results. Ads. Even if they don't say ad on them. Mobile app developer here. No, I can't just make an app quickly based on your unique idea and strike it rich upon releasing to the App Store. Also, your unique idea was already created by 25 other apps over a year ago and no one is downloading them. In emergency medical situations, when the patient says I think I'm going to die, they usually do. Cracking joints does not cause arthritis. And the sound isn't bones cracking, it's normally nitrogen gas escaping from your joint cavity. Military grade does not mean it's awesome. I'm sorry, but there is nothing I can do. Just because I work here it doesn't mean I can change the whole system, pricing or get back previous menu items. Your eyes and mouth don't stay shut when you're dead. Somebody, me, has to shut them to make a deceased person look more presentable. Everyone on the airplane will die if I, the pilot, forget to put one knob to auto. Accounting involves very little math beyond addition of positive and negative numbers. Accounting is just putting those numbers into the proper categories. Diamonds are fairly common. White and colorless diamonds are scarce. 90% of diamonds are usually yellow or brown. Only diamonds that are near white and near flawless under 10x magnification are used in jewelry. The rest are ground down and used in tools, drill bits, saw blades etc. I always thought it was amusing how blatant it was when they started trying to create a jewelry market for brown diamonds by rebranding them as chocolate diamonds. That a lot of truck drivers especially out west are at least partially distracted just to keep themselves from falling asleep behind the wheel. Some of us have YouTube or Netflix just for noise that's not talk radio. Are reaching into their cooler for a snack or drink with one hand and lighting a cigarette with the other, all while steering with their knees. Others are talking on the phone while trying to keep their dog or cat out of their lap while also brushing their teeth and reading a map or GPS looking for a place to pull off for their break. And anyone who is a trucker that says they have never done any of that is either brand new or is a liar. We do pay a lot more attention when in the mountains or in populate area though.